Gophers Coach's Corner.
What's up, everyone? Today we're hanging out with the head coach for the wrestling team, Brandon Eggum. Coach, who introduced you to the game, or was there a mentor or a coach that really stuck with you that you still think of today?
Yeah, a lot of people, but the way I got introduced into wrestling was different. I grew up small town in Montana. I remember driving by one time a field, and there were some kids in the neighborhood that were actually playing baseball. And my parents didn't play sports in high school, so growing up kind of as a young kid, it wasn't something I was really introduced to. But I went over, met one of the guys. His name was Mike Tillamoni. He was my neighbor. He wrestled, so after I tried to teach me how to play baseball, I wasn't very good at that. We got into wrestling. He started showing me wrestling moves in his basement, and he put on a little wrestling tournament in his backyard, like in a field, which was pretty amazing, and
cool.
With the neighbors, and that's how I got introduced to it. And then going on from there, my high school coach made a really big impact in my life. His name was Guy Melby. He's still coaching Sydney. They just won a state title this year. He's an amazing person. He was behind me and really helped me grow as a wrestler and as a person, and gave me a lot of insight on how to be as good as I could be, and also a lot of opportunities to help push me and help me get to tournaments and other things and resources that I would have never had financially. He helped in that way open the door there, so that was really exciting.
What is it like, being a coach now here, but also having the experience of, doing what your players do every day?
Yeah, I guess, wrestling's a unique sport. Like, you get a really strong tie with your athletes because a lot of times you're out on the mat, you're drilling with these guys, working with them. It's unique to most sports. You see a lot of my assistants are out there, they're wrestling every day live with these guys, and it's pretty amazing. But that develops a special bond. Being an alumni here and being able to wrestle and remember that past, like the experience that I had, that was amazing. And I want to continue to give that back to our student athletes. So,
what is some advice you give to your kids who are just starting in the wrestling world?
Yeah, the biggest thing, like I talk about all the time, especially like in the sport like wrestling, that you go out in the middle of this mat, it's just one-on-one. One person's going to win, one person's going to lose. So there's a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of loss. And I think in some sports where it's a team sport, you get to share that. But in a sport like wrestling, there's some pressure that gets added because you get the highs to take credit for the wins, but you also have to take full credit for the loss. And so the biggest thing we talk about all the time is sometimes I maybe didn't do things perfect, but if I won the match, I was pretty excited about it. When I lost, there's a reason that I'd go back, reflect, and a lot of times you make your biggest growth. It's awesome to be able to look into these young guys' eyes and see them, the work that they put in and all the time, and watch them go out to try to achieve something that's very difficult to do. And to be a part of that, it makes you feel young again. As you get older and you're not able to step on the mat and compete like they did, being in the corner is still something special because you can remember the ups and downs. And if you can get into these guys' heads and make sure that they're thinking positive, and that controls a lot of times their future of the tournament, is how they're looking, how positive, how excited they are, and if they're ready to go out and compete. And that guy does really well. You got to throw the results out the window when you get to that point.
What are some of the things maybe you learned that year or other years in your career that you really use even now in your coaching days?
I think some of the biggest things is, as an athlete, you focus so much on winning and losing, and that can be a tough thing if you want to compete at your highest level. And just learning to be relaxed and free and go out and focus on the behaviors that are going to help you compete at the highest level, like that's the most important thing. And when I made a decision to come to the University of Minnesota, part of my decision, a big part of it, was because I wanted to be the best wrestler I could be. And what that meant to me was winning an NCAA title. And I remember after losing my junior year in the NCAA finals, I felt like I really had let myself down. I was in a little bit of a panic. I instantly went into training and realized, man, I have 1 year. I'm going to be a senior. If I'm going to win an NCAA title, I got 1 year. And I knew that there was a guy I had to beat. That summer, in the middle of the summer, I had a horrible call in the middle of the night, and I had a younger sister that had passed away. She was in a car accident. At that moment, it changed a lot in my eyes as a competitor, because I finally realized, wow, there's a lot of things worse in life than losing an NCAA title, and it changed my perspective. It helped me compete different. I know when I went out and competed after that, it made me realize, like, there's nobody's going to die here in this match. I'm either going to win or going to lose. There's things I don't have control, but the one thing I had control of is my effort. I can go out there and do my best. And we know in life, it can be worse. There's people, you have to go through death or loss or different things that are far, far more traumatic than losing a match. But I think being able to be a competitor and learn that way and have to deal with it and have to be able to get back up and move forward immediately to be able to have success is important, and it helps these young men and women go on and develop as people. And I think that's awesome. That's one of the best things about being an athlete.
Best coaching advice you've ever gotten?
You know, I heard a lot from, previous coaches and stuff is just remembering as an athlete, especially at these levels, these guys are so hard on themselves that it's easy sometimes to get caught up in the wins and losses, especially as a coach. Like there's times when we talk about our athletes, they go out and there's guys that lose matches and you're extremely proud of them. And there's times that guys have won and you can be disappointed. But as a team, you always want to win. Sometimes you can wrestle really well as a team, but when you don't get the W and you come back in the locker room, it's easy to be kind of disappointed. But anything that you have to say, athletes at this level, they've already ran those things through their minds 50, 100 times. So you got to be really careful, I think, because the outlook, to being honest with them is important, but at the same time making sure that they understand that there's a plan and process to move forward and get better. And that's probably some of the best advice I've been given is remembering, like, it's never as low as you think it could be, and it's never as high as you can, and trying to stay right there in the middle and making sure your athletes are like that is important.
Coach, it's been really great to get to know you. That's awesome.